Wednesday, everybody. You know, this is an absolutely crazy time of year for everybody. Pardon me. Oh, my goodness. So, this is a nutso time for everybody, and I am fully aware of that because it's been kind of a crazy time for me. Now, let me just see if I can. There we go. Okay, so we have got a tremendous amount to do today. I am nowhere near ready for Christmas. I'm working on it, but are you ready for Christmas? I'll tell you, one of the things that I absolutely love at Christmas time, I love it more than the turkey, I love it more than the gravy, I love it more than the stuffing, more than all of those things, is a lemon jellied salad that my mom has made ever since I was just a wee little girl. Oh, we'll get rid of this for the moment. So, the problem is, when she made it when I was little, this lemon jelly salad was full of sugar. It was full of things that are absolutely not keto. So, either I have to give up something that I really enjoy, or I have to find a way to make it keto. So, let's make it keto. Let's make it fun, and we'll have a little bit of fun in. Now, I do not know where that came from, but I think maybe that's just the universe telling us that we're on the right path. Okay, now, first things first, the one thing that we are going to need today that I totally forgot to put over here is a pot. So, let me grab that. And we will get started. So you are going to need your homemade mayonnaise. Do you have your homemade mayonnaise? Because if you don't, if you've been watching, hanging out here with me, you will know that your homemade mayonnaise literally takes 2 minutes. So let me know in the chat. Talk to me. I love it when you guys talk to me. Let me know if you've ever made homemade mayonnaise, because I gotta tell you, a few minutes late getting started again today. I know. I am frazzled. I'm like so many people this Christmas. I am just frazzled. And it's not just this Christmas. With me, it's pretty much every Christmas. But some of us thrive under pressure, and I'm not gonna say that I'm thriving under it, but I'm dealing with it. So, okay, first things first. Little bit of sweetener in my coffee. Now the sweetener is my sugar-free amaretto, and it is absolutely delicious. That is so good. So if you don't have a hot cup of coffee or a hot cup of tea, I really hope you do something about that, because it is, I don't know where you are, but it's a cold winter day here. And good morning, AK. How are you? So I gotta tell you, now I'm going to just presume that there is more than one person sitting in front of that computer. This beautiful necklace with all of the purple sparkles in it is something that came from AK's Unique Creations, because it is not just AK. She is, she's my hero. She's a super mom, and her 10-year-old, 11-year-old daughter today, happy birthday, Aaliyah, if you're watching. She made this for me, and I am just absolutely thrilled and proud to wear it, and it goes perfectly with my purple shirt. Water's boiling for coffee. Good, and happy birthday, Aaliyah. I'm glad your water's boiling for coffee, and I hope you have a sugar-free something to put in it, unless you drink your coffee black. Okay, so we have lots to do today. We are going to start my favorite lemon jelly salad. So there are things all over the counter that we are going to need today. So let's get started. Now, one of the most important things in any jelly salad is the Jello, right? And you can go and buy sugar-free Jello. And I will be honest with you, that was my intention. And I went to buy the sugar-free Jello. Let's get this out of our way. I went to buy the sugar-free Jello, which needs to be lemon, by the way, and there was none. So we are just going to do it this way, and it's going to be great. Now, the very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to put 1.5 cups of water, cold water. You need, now I'm going to show you how to make, okay, yeah, that's about 1.5 cups. I'm going to show you, I'm just going to get one of these containers out of our way. I'm going to show you how to make Jello from scratch using gelatin. Now, because this is a lemon Jello, and this is really important, it's important that when you choose your gelatin, that you choose a gelatin that is a bovine gelatin, and this one is. Now, this one I ordered on Amazon. It is grass-fed, pasture-raised bovine gelatin, so this is as good as you can get. Now we need 3 tablespoons in our cold water. Now you want to add the cold water to the bowl first because the gelatin has a tendency to kind of clump. Now, why do we need bovine gelatin in here? Because you can, there's 2 different kinds, bovine or porcine, so from beef or from pork. We want bovine this time specifically because the process that they use to make porcine gelatin, a little more is better than a little less in this case. They use an acid to break it down. So the acid from our lemon can affect whether or not our Jello sets. Bovine gelatin is not as susceptible to that. So we're going to put that in there. We'll set this aside. Now, you put the gelatin in on top. And I don't know. Oh, you guys can't see this. I need to be working in front of you, not over beside you. So let's do that. Gelatin needs to bloom. And this is important. You put the water in first, sprinkle the gelatin on top, and then whip it up. Make sure that your gelatin is in there and it's not all clumpy and yucky. Just the water and the gelatin. And I'm going to move this over here so we're just hanging in the same area. Okay. Now, we are going to leave this. Now, you can do this the night before. The longer you leave it, the more that gelatin is going to absorb the water, and the nicer it's going to be. Now, we're going to leave this. Alexa, set a 10-minute blooming timer.
Blooming timer, 10 minutes, starting now.
She's so helpful, isn't she? Okay, we're going to set this aside. And while that is blooming, we are going to start another component of our lemon jellied salad. We are going to make something that I have really never had any use for, except for this particular salad. Not overall, not a fan of jellied salads, but this one I am a fan of. We are going to make Miracle Whip. In my opinion, Miracle Whip has only one redeeming feature, and that is that it's a part of this salad. And you know, I would at Christmas time or whenever I was making this, I would go and buy a little teeny jar of Miracle Whip because I never ever used it for anything else. And then you start doing keto and Miracle Whip is loaded with sugar, so we don't need any of that in anything. So we're going to make keto Miracle Whip. And I really want to thank, and she will know who she is. I have someone who watches often, Evelyn, sent me this recipe for keto Miracle Whip, and I am absolutely thrilled. So I just made a fresh jar of mayonnaise, which is very tasty. Super simple to make, you guys. You do not need to go to the store and buy mayonnaise, which most often is loaded with sugar. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we are going to measure out a cup of mayonnaise. Okay, now this has not been refrigerated yet, so it's not quite as thick as it would be if it had been refrigerated. The biggest thing to remember when you are making mayonnaise, make sure your eggs are at room temperature. Your mayonnaise is not going to work if you don't. So there is a cup or 150 milliliters or 250 milliliters of homemade mayonnaise. Literally 3 ingredients. There's eggs, avocado oil, and a little bit of lemon juice. That's it. And after you make it, you can season it however you want. You can add salt, you can add spices, you can add whatever it is that you would like. But one way or the other, you have a super healthy mayonnaise. And it takes, I am not even kidding you when I say 2 minutes. I put the eggs in the jar. I put the lemon juice in the jar. And I got my immersion blender, turned it on, and as I was using the immersion blender, I poured the oil in. Super easy. Okay, we will get this out of our way now as well. Now, we have our mayonnaise in the bowl. We need 4 teaspoons, which is 1.5 tablespoons-ish. Well, 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. So let's add that in. Now, apple cider vinegar, honestly, I am never going to be a fan, but it is packed full of nutrition. So if you are going to use a vinegar, you might as well, okay, what have I done with my, all right, well, half a teaspoon 2 times will work. Now I need to find half a teaspoon. There we go. And should have had this measured out before. Didn't have it measured out before. There are a lot of things that I should have had done this morning that I just don't have done yet. But that's okay. Oh, thank you, AK. That is so sweet of you. Okay. We have, what do we have in here? We have our 1 cup of homemade mayonnaise. We have 4 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. We are adding 1 tablespoon of powdered erythritol. And we are just going to add that in there. Now this stuff, I make sure I get every crumb of it out because it is expensive. I don't want to waste it. And then we are going to add 1 teaspoon of mustard powder. And we are going to add 1/8 teaspoon of paprika, couple of pinches of cayenne pepper, couple pinches of salt, and a pinch of garlic powder. And we're going to put that in there. And those, of course, you guys already know this. Those are spices from TSL Organics. Now the mustard, I don't know if you noticed the color of that mustard powder. That is a brown mustard powder. Now I'm going to knead this spoon in a little bit. Oh, look at the difference in our gelatin already. It's already getting clumpy. So it's absorbing that water and that gelatin is blooming. So it's going to make it absolutely wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we're just going to set this aside for a minute. We're going to need that in a bit. And have another sip of coffee. Is your water ready for coffee yet? You know, I love when families get together and watch the lives, and by all means, call your friends, call your family, get them watching, even if they are not doing keto. You know, keto, a lot of people don't know this. 2 things. First of all, keto is the extreme end of low carb. People use it for reversing health conditions, including obesity and type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure and heart disease and Crohn's disease and irritable bowel syndrome and. The list just goes on and on and on. So then you have low carb. That involves more carbs, and that's a place that is awesome for the whole family. It is just about good nutrition. This is not a weight loss diet. This is appropriate nutrition for human bodies. the junk we have in the store, all of the garbage that we have, not good for human bodies. Okay, so we have everything in here, and I am just going to get a whisk because I did not sift the powdered erythritol that I put in here, and I don't want to have lumps in there. And then after we get this whipped up, got to do a taste test, right? Oh, come on, grab a spoon. That absolutely is similar to Miracle Whip. It's not quite as sweet, but it's going to work. And I will say the same thing about this recipe that I say about Miracle Whip. Its only redeeming feature is that it is going to work really well in this recipe for this lemon jelly salad. I would never use it anywhere else. I don't like sweet on sandwiches unless it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which really isn't keto. Although, I will say, I make a rhubarb chutney and almond butter on keto bread. Yep, I'll do that all day, every day. Okay, so we're going to set our Miracle Whip aside. Oh, look at that. You know, I've talked to you guys before about Aaliyah and the work that she's done. Yesterday, I was honored to be there when Aaliyah presented everything that she had gathered up. Now, this little girl is 11 today, just so you guys know. And she raised over $100 and a bunch of food for our local food bank. And she did it at our local community market where you can find TSL organic spices if you're looking for them. So, I was lucky enough to be there last night when she made that presentation to the food bank. So just so proud of her. And her mom and dad for being such amazing supports to her and encouraging her and her little brother to be so community minded. There are a lot of people that could take lessons from this family. Okay, so onwards and upwards. We have our Miracle Whip made. It is that easy. Mayonnaise, apple cider vinegar, powdered sweetener. You can adjust the sweetness to whatever level you like, and then your spices that we put in there. Okay, so that is step one. We are going to set that aside because we're not going to need it for a while, but we are going to need it to be in the fridge nice and cold and thick for when we do need it. Now, we are going to start working on our lemon jello. And the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to put a quarter of a cup-ish of lemon juice into our pot. Now, do you remember this summer when I was making ice cubes out of lemons? Alexa, stop. And those lemons went in the freezer and in ice cube trays. And now when I need fresh lemon juice, poof, there you have it. I've a Ziploc bag full of ice cubes in the deep freeze. So we're going to turn this on. Now we don't need it really hot. We're going to melt these ice cubes. We're also going to add 1 cup of water because when we get to the point that we need to get to, we are going to need, I need my production crew and he's at work. Oh, wow. You are more than welcome. You have definitely earned that in spades. It's such a pleasure to know your family. Okay, so 3 tablespoons of gelatin we have in here with 1.5 cups of goodness me, 1.5 cups of water. There we go. See, I get 1 compliment and I get all flustered. Okay, now we need 3/4 cup, give or take, and you can make this as sweet as you want. This is your kitchen. Your kitchen, your rules. Doesn't matter how I like it. It matters how you like it. Okay, so I have 2 tablespoons there. And now I probably could have added a little bit more to this. but I'll show you why I didn't. So I am not a fan of stevia. Stevia is one of those things that, in my opinion, has an aftertaste. But if you're adding it to something that has really strong flavors, and flavors that can really hold their own. Okay, let me get this out of here. Then you can add some stevia. I prefer to do it like half and half with something else. Okay. This stuff gets... Have you guys ever played with those little beads that were in a beanbag chair and they get all staticky and they go all over the place? Well, I have been grinding my own powdered erythritol. I buy granular and then I put it in my spice grinder. And it's great, except it does the same thing as those little peanutty ball things. Okay, so we have about half a cup of erythritol. Now I'm going to add this to the lemon juice. There we go. I'm going to add that to the lemon juice, and the reason that I'm going to do that is because I really want that to dissolve. And if it doesn't dissolve, it's going to be grainy in our Jello, and we don't want grainy in our Jello. So, now one of the things that is always true about erythritol, there are powdered sweeteners that don't do... Yeah, I'm not the only one that has had experiences with those little staticky balls. One of the things that is always true about erythritol is when you heat it and then you cool it down, it has a tendency to leave crunchy little candy-like crystals in there. I think they are delicious. I love them, but not everybody does. So we are going to use some sweet drops, and you don't need very much of this. This, I mean, they're drops for a reason. These are super, super concentrated. So right now we're just going to put 4 drops in. Maybe. Come on. Oh, there we go. Okay, well, it only works if it'll come out a drop at a time. Okay, there. That is all we need of that. Running out of counter space here. So we're going to add that in there. And I'm going to rinse this because it's kind of thick and sticky. So we want to add that in there. Give it a little bit of extra sweetness. Okay, now in the gelatin, we're going to add 1.5 cups, and I only put 1 cup of water in there. Dee. Yeah. You know what? I am just all over the place today. And honestly, I am looking at this recipe that I have made before, but I'm looking at this recipe thinking, I may not have quite enough lemon juice in here. I think I was reading things upside down, but you know what? We're going to do it. I'm going to post this recipe, and I don't usually post recipes that I do because I like for you to watch with me. And that's a huge bonus for me when people are watching. Every minute that I have people watching helps other people to see my videos. So that's what I'm usually asking people to do. Okay, so we are going to add 1/2 teaspoon of grated lemon rind, and again I'm going to add this to our pot of water and lemon juice because this is going to help rehydrate this lemon rind. I'm putting a little bit extra in it because I like it nice and lemony. Now I could have put that in my spice grinder as well, but I'm not going to because I like the look of the lemon rind in there. It's pretty. I like it. And this is my kitchen, my recipe. I can do whatever I want. So, you need to have a rule like that in your kitchen. And people who come into your kitchen, I'm just going to see. Oh, yum. Yep, that is absolutely yummy. People who come into your kitchen and start telling you that you're doing things wrong need to be uninvited from your kitchen. They can do things their way in their kitchen. And if they are not keto, or they are a stricter keto than you are, or whatever it is, I would ask that you respect their food choices. If their food choices don't line up with yours, then you can respect them while they are eating them somewhere else. Okay, now this is boiling. We're going to add that into our Jello that has now been blooming for more than 10 minutes, but you want it to be at least 10 minutes. And then we are just going to mix this up. Now this needs to go in the fridge and it needs to set until it's just getting clumpy. And there are more ingredients that we need for this lemon jellied salad, but we don't need them until this Jello is clumpy. So you want to be here on Friday at noon, because Friday at noon we're going to be putting everything together. Now when this is about half set, I'm going to add 1 cup of Miracle Whip. So when you join me on Friday, we will put all of the rest of the ingredients together. You are going to love this. It is absolutely delicious. It is one of my favorite parts of Christmas. And so look at how quickly we have put both of these things together. The mayonnaise, 2 minutes. The Miracle Whip, which is getting thicker as we go here, less than 2 minutes. Although, in all fairness, I had everything measured out beforehand. And the gelatin, put it out to bloom the night before. And you won't be sorry that you did. Okay, I want all of you to do your very best, to live your best version of this shining life. And have an amazing Wednesday and Thursday and Friday morning until I see you Friday at noon, which I am absolutely looking forward to. And I am going to put keto pineapple chunks in here. Yes, I have figured it out, I think. I will see you on Friday at noon, and I will tell you how I did it. So for now, all of you have an amazing day, and do your best. Be kind to each other, and be kind to yourself as well. Thank you for joining me.